So it's me, Cikgu Natasha, and why I am here, because I would like to share SPM revision campaign for your biology preparation for SPM 2023. Hi, I'm back. Alright, okay. So let's continue. Make sure you already grabbed your drink and make sure you are mentally prepared and whatever you can prepare with. Okay, so don't waste time. Let's continue with our 5th types of questions in paper 2. Okay, I hope you remember all the past 4 questions that we have discussed. Okay, please do remember because this is your last effort that you can put. Okay, we are in this journey together. All right, so let's take a look at the last type of the question that tested in paper 2. Okay, it's a sequence-based questions. Okay, surprisingly, we have this one question that came out in the trial SPM 2023 Negeri Sembilan, because I came from Wesley Methodist Seremban Private Negeri Sembilan Seremban. So I have quite similar questions when they talk about the sequence-based question, and you need to be very careful when you answer sequence-based question. Why? Okay, let's take a look at the example of the questions. Okay, the moment you see it's 5 marks question, you know it's mostly in section B and section C, because usually when it comes to structured questions in section A, normally the highest marks allocated is only 4. Okay, other than that it will be in section B or in section C. Okay, let's go to the questions now. Example, explain the reaction. Okay, explain the reaction that takes place in the stroma. This is actually which chapter? You will go to Form 5 photosynthesis chapter. Okay, which means under chapter 2 leaf structure, because you learn a bit about photosynthesis in that chapter. Okay, so the clue here is in your KSSM Biology textbooks, which means our powerful masterpiece. Okay, KSSM Biology textbooks. Alright, what you need to know, this is actually the answer scheme for all the SPM questions. Okay, I inform my students, and I think I would love to share this with everyone as well, where the reference books that you have bought, okay, you have purchased, okay, you may use it as your additional reference only, but your main reference, the technique of answering, the terms that they use, the points, the explanation, the sentences that they give, please follow KSSM Biology textbooks. And if you notice, at the page of the KSSM textbook, you see got small bubble boxes and everywhere there. Please do not neglect it, because it's very important, because that small pop-up questions can be one big questions for section A, section B or section C. It happens before, okay? It happens. Okay, we really thought that, hey, this is just a bio-exploration and this is just a simple question. Okay, we're not going to do this. Okay, we don't care about these tips. And accidentally, it came out in one of the SPM year as a big question with a quite, I think the marks is around 3 to 4. And the students, in fact, the students immediately told me, teacher, we never care about those section, the small section given in textbook. We thought it's not that important. No, it is. So every single words written in the KSSM Biology textbook, please pay attention to it. Okay? Alright, so let's take a look how you should answer these 5 types of questions when it comes to sequencing questions. Alright? Please remember in the textbooks, sometimes they will give you numbers. Okay, number 1, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, this point. Or they will give you arrows, okay, mechanism, okay, arrows, okay, what arrows, okay, then we'll go to here, okay, high blood osmotic pressure, after that permeability of ADH. For example, this is for homeostasis chapter, okay, homeostasis also is very famous sequence chapter. So when you see in the KSSM Biology textbooks, okay, you will see numbers given, you will see there are arrows, that means it is potentially a sequence-based question. Okay, like stroma now. So firstly, you need to make sure the numbers given in the biology textbooks is similar with your point of answers. You cannot exchange, because this happened to the students, okay, the Negeri Sembilan student, some of the students, when they answer sequence-based question, I realized that they mix up. Okay, quite famous question came out recently in the SPM trial Negeri Sembilan is the mechanism of blood clotting. Okay, blood clotting. You must start first with the accumulation of platelet. Alright, accumulation of platelets. And then they will stimulate the clotting factors. But what happened to the students? Some students, they will talk about what happened almost at the end of the mechanism of blood clotting. Okay, there is a scalp produced. There is no bleeding because the thrombokinase, it started with thrombokinase. It doesn't start with the platelets. It's supposed to start with the terms platelets. So what happened when I was marking, the moment I don't see the words platelets there, where it's supposed to be the first thing written there, automatically the whole process is wrong. Automatically, the whole answers have to be rejected because it's a sequence question. It cannot be happening without the proper sequence. You cannot be like all of a sudden number 3 takes place first without number 1 and number 2. Okay, so if you take a look at the reaction, you must mention first the reaction is light independent reaction. Okay, good. Then you continue. Carbon dioxide bind to the 5 carbon organic compound, forming 6 carbon organic compounds. See, one by one, 1 point, 1 sentence, 1 point, 1 sentence. Next, NADPH and ATP from the light-dependent reaction reduce this organic compound into glucose monomer. Okay, stop. Continue. What you should say about glucose monomer now? Glucose undergoes condensation to form starch. Your last word is starch, so you continue with starch, okay? Starch will be stored in the stroma. How many points given? 5. Do you deserve the 5 marks? Yes. But please make sure every single sequence and points written is according to the given sequence. If let's say what happened, you write down, you exchange starch and glucose. Starch will be stored in the stroma, you put as the 4th point. Glucose undergoes condensation to form starch as the 5th point. So you might be getting only 3 marks out of 5 marks. Okay, as long as the sequence is correct, you still got the marks. Okay? Alright, so that's how it works. We are done with all the 5 main types of the questions that will be tested in paper 2. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Just now I told most of you the do's, something that you need to do for biology. Now something that you have to avoid to be better achiever of biology. Alright, so what you need to do, this is also, because I've been teaching biology for more than 10 years. I think almost 10 years. So what I can say that this is happening with everyone, every students lah. Because sometimes you love to write the answer too generally, okay? This is something that you need to be careful with, right? When the question is asking quite specific, the question is giving you some substrate of the enzyme. Very, very specific cells, muscle cell for example. Very, very specific situation. Please be specific as well. Do not answer very, very generally, okay? Because this is what will happen. You will lose marks, right? Okay, example. Say the question is asking, explain the benefits of the mother's milk to the baby. Okay, this is always, I could see this is a favorite answers by everyone. You call it as a safe answer lah. You thought that you still can score anyway, but actually you don't even deserve 1 mark. It's so sad to tell you this. Why? Mother's milk is the best and effective to the baby. I could say this is too general. What do you mean by best? What do you mean by effective? How is it effective then? What is the proof? Justify why it is the best. You just mentioned it's the best, okay? That is the meaning of the words being used. Very, very general. Okay, how about the second one? Formula milk is not the best. Again, too general. Affect the baby. Oh, this is my students' favorite words. Affect. It can affect the environment. It can affect the process. It can affect the rate of respiration. I always told them, affect is too general because there is a negative effects and there is a positive effects. If affecting negatively, you can say reduce, okay, or remove, something like that. Remove the remove the concentration or something like that. Positive can be increase, all right, or something like support. Okay, so make it more specific answer by telling us either it's negative or positive effect. Okay, so what is the very good sample answer here? All right, example. Explain the benefit of the mother's milk to the baby. The best answer, mother's milk has high amount of protein. This is too specific. So this student deserves 1 mark because he or she mentioned about high amount of protein. That means they mention about that specific nutrients. Something that I always reminded my students lah. Instead of effect, another words they love to say is nutrient. I could say nutrient is very general. Okay, mother milk has high amount of nutrient. Okay, by right, you already learned there are a few types of nutrient according to your food classes. It can be carbohydrates, it can be protein, it can be lipids. So think properly that which one is the best and a specific answer. Okay, all right. Then to support the growth of the baby, because it is under explain, the task word is explain. So you have to justify your answer, why it has high amount of protein, why it is needed to be high amount of protein. So you need to tell because it's needed to support the growth of the baby. Okay, second point, mother's milk has high antibody. Explanation, strengthen the baby's immunity. Can you see it's a very precisely and accurately given. The point is there, very specific. We talk about antibody, specific. We talk about protein, specific. And every single reason, protein, there is a reason for why having protein and there is a reason for why having antibody. Okay, so do not write too general answer. Okay, second don'ts. Do not write extra points for structured questions. Okay, I'm not sure whether you've been informed with this or not, because this is all some things like it's a habit of some of my students. They thought that they couldn't give, they're not really confident with their answer. So the question is just asking 2 points, but they're so excited they give maybe around 5. You can do that in essay, which means you can do that in section B and section C. I told them to goreng. I always tell them, okay, goreng. In section C, no issue. But when it comes to section A, do not give extra. So what you need to do is you need to feel very, very confident. Let's say you're not sure about the first 2 answers, you don't write it down, okay? You just need to think carefully, okay? Give priority. Which one you think a bit accurate and a bit like correct compared to another answer, and then write it down first, okay? So please don't, because I got a lot of situation like this, okay? And I keep telling my student the same thing. Okay, let's take a look at the example of the questions, all right? State one characteristic of a greenhouse that can increase the light-dependent reaction rate of the plant. Okay, one characteristics. Okay, because of lack of confidence, I'm not sure whether my answer will be correct or not. It's okay lah, teacher, I will give you 2. Okay, you give me 2 answers. But what is the sad story here is, your first answer obviously wrong. So what is going to happen? What you're going to think? Oh, never mind. My teacher will think, even though this one wrong, this one correct, I will still deserve my 1 mark. Oh, so sad. I have to tell you, no such thing. So in biology, we don't have that power, that authority to choose which one I like, which one the student write. Okay, cannot. So since I only 1 characteristics and the first one written is wrong, obviously the second one we still mark correct, but we're not going to give you marks. Okay, so no mark is given due to the second point is considered as the extra point, and sadly it's a correct answer. So please think carefully before you give, and please just stick to 1 characteristics as been requested by the questions. Okay, all right, be careful with that. Okay, all right, let's go to the almost a few last slides, okay, before we end these sessions. Okay, let's go to the famous biology SPM FAQs, your frequently asked question. Okay, I think I confidence that you also have asked the similar questions to your teachers so many times. So yes, again, I would like to emphasize the answer now. Okay, so the first question here, Alright. Can we answer more than the given lines? Okay. Right? More than the given lines, or actually in the answer space for section A. Again, I would like to remind you, section A is structured questions. Okay. It's quite limited. We call as a limited response. That means you don't get so excited. Whatever you know about the question, you want to pour everything's there. It's not like essay. Essay, you can write as many as you want. Okay, for structured, actually, we allow you to write more than the lines given. Maybe not because of your handwriting bigger. Okay, let's say you got more explanation. All right, let's say only 3 lines are given. But there are 1 or 2 extra lines are needed for you to complete your answer. We're still going to read. Okay, we're still going to read. We allow it. Okay, but don't get too excited giving more than the required answer. For example, if we go back to the don'ts just now, the one I told you, if you just ask 2, just give us 2. Okay, we don't read the third one. All right, so yes, it's allowed. Okay, can we do more than 1 question for section B? Yes, please. It's just that one more thing. Okay, you are allowed to do more than 1 question, because section B there are 2 essays questions. Okay, there are 2 questions, and you supposedly only needed to answer 1. But if let's say you have extra time, you want to do both, yes, both will be read and both will be marked. Okay, then we will choose the highest one. Please do so. But don't get too excited. You answer both of the questions in section B, then suddenly you just realize that you forgot to answer section C. Okay, be careful with that. Okay, no issue with this. Number 3, can we draw table for comparison-based question in section B? This is what I've told you earlier at the beginning of the session. Yes, if you see the tables is the best, correct, you can do it. Make sure the aspects when you are comparing them should be the same aspect. When you talk about the characteristic, this one also you must talk about the characteristics as well. When you talk about the appearance, structures and everything, you must talk about the appearance and structure. When you talk about function, also the next column you talk about function. Okay, do not write, actually I'm not advise my student to write more than 2 columns, because it happens last time when my student do the comparing and contrasting question. Let's say here is cell A, cell B. In the middle column is aspect. So what happened? Okay, aspect 1. He just wrote yes, no. Okay. Number of chambers, 4, 2, something like that, for example. Okay, the 2 items A and B. So this one is not a proper columns, so it's not a proper table that will give you any marks. Okay, so please make sure it should be in sentences. But if you don't want to use table, you prefer to write down in essay. So what you should do, this happened last time. Okay, compare cell A and cell B. Okay, this is something that you need to be careful. Please avoid this. Okay, do not write down 1 paragraph, the whole paragraph of cell A. And after that, only the second paragraph for cell B. Cell A is blah, 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 blah. Okay, you finish 3 to 4 points. But then cell B, you started below cell A. Cell B, however, cell B is blah, 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 finish cell B. So, you won't get marks for that, because it should be done simultaneously. Cell A is blah, 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 while cell B is blah, blah, blah. Okay. Cell A has blah, 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 blah. However, cell B has blah, 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 blah. That's all okay. How many paragraphs you want? You want to do 1 or 2? It's up to you. But please make sure it should be written simultaneously, A and B at the same time. Okay? Alright. So, no issue for question number 3. Okay, let's go to the last question, number 4. Any deduction of marks for the wrong points written in section B? Okay, there are 2 questions in question number 4. Okay, so I will explain one by one. Any deduction of marks for the wrong points written in section B? Okay, good news, no. Okay, because section B or section C is essay. So that's why I told my students, so you goreng, this is where you can pour all your biology knowledge in the answer. You just write whatever you want, but make sure don't get too excited. Don't give the examiner a novel. It should be just a simple paragraph and article. Okay. where we will keep looking for the next point. If the first point correct, second point wrong, okay lah, no marks lah. No marks, we don't deduct any marks lah. The marks that you just got from the first point that was correct, you're not going to touch that marks, okay? So that first mark remains, second mark, no marks lah. Second point, no marks because it's wrong. We go to the next line, okay, we see the third point correct, fourth point correct, okay, fifth point wrong. We don't do anything, okay? We just continue, we will keep looking for the next points as long as it can help you to get marks. We are not that bad, okay? So the answer is no, no deduction of marks. Alright, next question, in the fourth question also, any half marks are given. For SPM format, there is no such thing, okay? The answer is no. Even though you half of the answers correct, half of the answer gone, teacher, I think I deserve half marks. Out of 1 marks, can I score 0.5 marks? Okay, no such thing. It's either 1 or 0, that's it. So it's either, even though only half of the parts of the answers is correct, but half is wrong, so the whole marks for that particular point is gone, okay? So I hope I made myself clear. But if you still have any of the questions you want to ask, please try to reach to your own biology teacher. I hope that they'll manage to clear the air as I managed to clear the air for you, for those who keep asking, for those who keep looking for what is actually the best strategies or the techniques in answering biology SPM. Okay, I hope it's a very beneficial and fruitful sessions when you are here with me. And thank you for having me. Thank you for paying so much of attention. And I really hope for the last push in your SPM, please do the best for yourself, because this is not only about SPM, this is also the start of your future. Alright, so don't forget to apply all the tips and tricks and be strategic and systematic in your revisions and during your effort that you put in answering the paper. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I enjoy having the session with you. Good luck in your SPM soon.